Woody Allen has announced his retirement from filmmaking. Multiple award-winning filmmaker announcing that he will be retiring after the release of his next film.
At 89 years old, Woody Allen has spent nearly his entire life surrounded by movies, watching them, learning from them, and of course, making them. With more than 50 films under his belt as a director.
Excuse me, Mr. Allen? Is that your new movie you're working on?
No.
He's one of cinema's most prolific storytellers. But beyond his own work, Allen has always been known as a devoted movie lover, a cinephile who absorbed everything from slapstick comedies to European art house masterpieces. So when asked about his favorite films at this stage in life, his answers carry weight. They're not just personal picks, but a reflection of nearly 9 decades of living, watching, and thinking about cinema.
I'm a clarinet player in 1973. I go into the hospital for a lousy operation. I wake up 200 years later and I'm flat.
In this video, we'll break down Woody Allen's 6 favorite movies. Not only what they are, but why they matter to him and what they reveal about the mind of one of the most famous filmmakers alive today. Let's get started. 1. A lifetime of cinema. Woody Allen's favorite films aren't just entertainment to him, they're part of his DNA. Growing up in Brooklyn in the 1940s, he spent much of his youth in darkened theaters, watching double features and developing an obsession with storytelling.
It's hard to believe that you haven't had sex for 200 years.
204 if you count my marriage.
When you consider that he's been making films since the 1960s, that's over 60 years as a director, and even more as a passionate viewer. His movie choices reflect this lifelong commitment to cinema.
Well, maybe we should make it a museum day, you know? I promised your father on his deathbed that I would give you a well-rounded education.
They often come from the golden age of Hollywood or the post-war European era that shaped modern filmmaking.
What's the name of the film?
The name of the film is Sleeper.
For Allen, these movies aren't just about technique. They're emotional touchstones. They capture moments when he was younger, inspired, and filled with ambition. And at 89, when he looks back on them, they remind him of why he fell in love with movies in the first place.
You won't give me away, will you? You're a nice person.
It's almost like looking at a family album, except the family members are filmmakers like Orson Welles, Federico Fellini, and Ingmar Bergman. Each film on his list represents a different stage in his own creative journey. 2. Unexpected picks. When you think of Woody Allen, you might assume his favorite films are all serious, European art films. And yes, he does love those, but some of his picks may surprise you.
I hate you!
Try not to get upset.
Allen has always had a soft spot for comedy, and not just clever dialogue-driven comedy, but also old-school slapstick. He's praised Charlie Chaplin, the Marx Brothers, and even Buster Keaton, artists who made people laugh without saying a word. This might feel unexpected for a filmmaker known for neurotic, dialogue-heavy scripts. But it makes sense. Humor, after all, is central to his own style, even in his most dramatic works. Some of Allen's favorite movies are the ones that don't take themselves too seriously, that remind us of the joy and silliness cinema can create. For him, the unexpected isn't a guilty pleasure. It's an essential part of storytelling. It shows us that even one of the most intellectual directors of our time still appreciates the simple magic of laughter.
I don't resent him. I've told you that, you know? I think he's a pompous ass. You don't see it because you're in love with him.
What are you muttering?
And when fans hear these picks, it reminds them that Allen isn't just an auteur. He's also a fan who never lost the childlike joy of sitting in a theater and laughing until it hurts. 3. Influences on his work. If you watch Woody Allen's films closely, you'll notice traces of the movies he calls his favorites. They're like fingerprints, subtle but undeniable. Take Ingmar Bergman, for instance. Allen has repeatedly named Bergman's work, especially films like The Seventh Seal and Persona, as towering achievements. The way Bergman explored mortality, relationships, and faith influenced Allen's more serious films, like Interiors and Crimes and Misdemeanors. Then there's Federico Fellini. The dreamlike quality of 8.5 inspired Allen's own whimsical experiments with memory, fantasy, and storytelling, particularly in Stardust Memories.
My brother-in-law Clifford. Hi. This is Lisa Crosley. Lisa's gonna star in my new series.
I'm not really starring.
Yeah, well, you're one of the stars. It's an ensemble piece.
And of course, the Marx Brothers, with their anarchic energy, left a permanent mark on Alan's comedic timing, especially in Sleeper and Bananas. By looking at Alan's favorite movies, we see the direct blueprint for his own body of work. They're not just films he admires. They're films he studied, internalized, and transformed into something uniquely his own.
I love what you're wearing.
Oh, you do? Yeah? Oh, well, this tie is a present from Grammy Hall.
His list, in a way, is like a roadmap to understanding his creative DNA. 4. Personal favorites versus critical favorites. One of the most fascinating things about Alan's list is how it balances between universally acclaimed classics and deeply personal favorites. Sure, he includes the heavy hitters, films that critics also consider masterpieces, but he also names movies that hold more private meaning for him. This contrast is important. It shows that taste isn't only about prestige. Even someone with Alan's encyclopedic knowledge of film isn't just picking the best by consensus. He's picking what moved him personally. Sometimes that means a small European drama that critics adore. Other times it means a screwball comedy that simply made him laugh during a rough time in his life. For viewers, this is refreshing. It reminds us that our own favorite films don't have to be award winners or appear on greatest of all time lists. They just have to resonate with us, whether through nostalgia, joy, or emotional impact. Alan's list tells us that cinema is both universal and deeply personal. The same movie that inspires millions can also comfort one individual, and that balance is what makes film so powerful. 5. Generational legacy. Another striking thing about Alan's favorite films is how much they reflect the legacy of earlier generations of filmmakers. His picks often come from the 1930s through the 1960s, a period when cinema was evolving rapidly. By honoring these films, Alan essentially keeps their legacy alive. At 89, he's like a bridge between old Hollywood and today's industry. When younger audiences hear about his favorites, they're introduced to films they might never have discovered otherwise. This passing of the torch is vital. In an era of streaming and short attention spans, Alan's list serves as a reminder of cinema's rich history. He's telling us, don't forget these films. They mattered to me, and they can matter to you too. And it's not just about film history, it's about cultural history. Many of his favorites reflect the struggles, hopes, and artistic revolutions of their time. By revisiting them, we're not just watching movies, we're experiencing slices of the 20th century itself. 6. A window into his mindset at 89. Finally, Woody Allen's favorite films at 89 aren't just about cinema, they're about who he is today. After nearly 9 decades, his choices reflect more than taste. They reveal his worldview. At this stage in life, nostalgia plays a role. Films from his youth carry emotional weight that new releases simply can't replicate. But there's also a sense of reflection. Many of his chosen movies deal with big themes: life, death, morality, love.
Hey, listen, marry me. I'm serious. That's the only thing that will satisfy me. Marry me. I'm crazy about you. You're single.
That are universal, but especially resonant as one looks back on a long life. By naming these 6 films, Alan gives us insight into how he sees the world now. It's almost like he's curating not just a film list, but a philosophy of life. For him, movies are more than stories. They're guides, companions, and mirrors of the human condition. And that's what makes his list so compelling. It's not just about taste, it's about identity. At 89, Woody Allen is still telling us who he is, not through a new movie, but through the ones he's cherished most. So there you have it, Woody Allen's 6 favorite films and what they reveal about his life, his influences, and his legacy. They remind us that movies aren't just entertainment. They're time capsules, mentors, and sometimes even friends. Whether or not you're a fan of Woody Allen's work, his list offers something valuable. A chance to revisit cinema's past and see it through the eyes of someone who has devoted his entire life to the art form. At 89, his choices tell us as much about him as they do about the films themselves. And maybe that's the true power of favorite movies. They reveal not only what we love, but also who we are. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories about the legends of cinema.